102.3. AJLH. Hate to talk over that. We all need to hear it a million times. Played it at the beginning of the show as our conscious cut of the day. But the artist is on the phone. Born and raised in Dayton, Ohio. Started rapping at the age as a musician, a rapper at the age of 7. And now is not just, an artist in front of the mic, but also dealing with every aspect of his career, a videographer, a graphic designer, photographer, a music producer. He's like a one-man, record label slash videography studio. And his song, My Vote Don't Count, is everywhere right now. Yello Pain, welcome to the front page.
Hey, how you doing? I'm honored to be here.
It's great to have you in. It's so crazy. The conversations that we're having right now seem to elevate and amplify. I'm sure it's even more intense than it was when you wrote this, right?
Yeah, most definitely.
I don't know if you've had any conversations with Ice Cube, but I mean, really, this conversation about what impact do we have, especially Black voters, it feels like it's front and center.
Yeah, most definitely. We have a huge impact, and that's why I really try to push, the smaller elections, because we could really change the way our communities are ran just by focusing on the congressional candidates and the judges. Like, we have numbers and we just don't use them, and that's why it's extremely important right now for everybody to understand how everything works.
Right. And I think, the points you make in the song is also pertinent in terms of the thing about does it matter? Because if you vote in local people, you can keep them accountable by paying attention and continuing to, expect things from them.
Exactly. We have to hold these politicians accountable. I think, the biggest thing is I think it's just a big gap in the educational system. I don't think nobody's really, we're learning calculus and doing algebra 2, algebra 3, and they're not applying that stuff nowhere else in life. When you have small government classes, then it's over with unless you specifically choose to focus on that. And I think it's just one of the most important things is how the country is ran. So I really think that we just need to learn, everybody needs to learn about how the government works, and then even bigger than that, really focus on these politicians, what they stand for, because, people are voting for politicians in their favor when you have people running that have our best interests at heart, but, we're not voting for them because we don't even know to.
Yeah, it's interesting. You've been in the music business a long time, and you've racked up millions and millions of streams long before My Vote Don't Count. You have your own following, but this song is kind of broken over into the mainstream. And did you expect that to happen when you made it?
To be honest, no. I had millions of views, but I think that my first song about government would be, the career changer. No, I really made this song, for my community and, and the people that, I specifically just will want to notice. But it's a blessing that it ended up becoming this big, because not only did it help my career out tremendously, but it really taught a whole lot of people that were, just as uninformed as I were to, about this stuff and making a song. It taught them, it gave a lot of people that same wake-up moment, and that was amazing. I couldn't ask for a better start into the music industry.
Right, that's that moment where you do fulfill your purpose or your greater purpose for the community, and it just overlaps with your career and your prosperity or abundance.
Exactly.
I love that. Congratulations on that. A lot of people. I mean, I've been around hip hop as a, I guess, whatever it is that I do for a long time, and one of the things that happens is that I feel like people shy away from doing quote conscious stuff or edutainment, as KRS-One called it, because they're afraid of being corny or being perceived as not hard some kind of way. And somehow you manage to, you call it speaking more than one language, somehow you manage to be very specific and instructive and not be corny. That's a huge accomplishment.
Yeah, I appreciate it, and I put a lot of time into that. But really, I think corny comes from attempting to do something for the sake of, some form of a benefit. Like when you do stuff from your heart and it's emotional and it's, and it's coming from you and it's genuine, it's hard to be corny because people can feel the emotion. People can feel that this is real and this is not, some attempt to go viral or some attempt to, get people tuned in. Like when it's from the heart, it's really hard to be corny. So as long as I continue to do stuff from the heart, then I think I'll be all right.
Yeah, that's a good way of looking at it. So now, when you said you did this for the community, and where we are now, the people, there's a lot of people, and I think your song is really helping. I mean, actually, Kathy Fang from Common Cause California told me specifically their polling shows that your song is having more impact than a lot of these commercials and educational campaigns that are structured and created by governments and think tanks and such. So you are definitely making a difference. Is there something that's not in the song that you would add?
You said, is there something that's not in the song that I would add?
That you would add, yeah, that you would, because I'm sure people are coming up to you, arguing, telling you their voting history, or just thanking you. Probably you're getting a lot of thanks. But is there something you would add?
Yeah, it's a lot of positivity that's coming from it. To add anything, I can't think of anything right now. I really tried to get as much as I could just down into a 3-minute song, and I think I really think I did a great job at everything that I put into one song. So I think we're good.
It's very thorough.
Yeah, there's a segment at the end of the original song because I have My Vote Don't Count and I have My Vote Will Count, which is the remix. There's a segment at the end of the video of My Vote Don't Count where my cousin Desiree Timms, who's running for Congress in the 10th District of Ohio, she said, every time you don't show up to an election, there's people who are happy you didn't show up because they're gonna make that decision for you. And I think that was so dope. And I think that message right there was just as strong as the rest of the song. So I guess if I could have added that into the remix or just into my whole, push, my whole promotional thing, I think that's just one extremely important message that, hey, you feel like your vote doesn't count. Well, somebody else is glad that you feel that way because they're going to show up. There's people who show up to every single election and they vote every time there's an election and they vote in their favor. And that means that there's nobody left to vote in your favor. And now we're getting politicians over and over and over, and they're benefiting people that aren't you, that aren't sometimes people of color or people in poverty-stricken situations. So, so if you don't vote, you're giving up your opportunity to have a say in how your life and your community goes. And I think that that's an extremely important message to add on for sure.
Yeah, I love that your cousin, you said, helped talk you through some of these concepts and refresh your civics course, and that she actually won her primary, right? So now she's in the general election and could actually get the seat, right?
Yeah, she definitely won in the primary, and then I don't want to sugarcoat her involvement in this. She came to me and asked me to make a song about voting. And I turned it down. I said, "Cuz I love you, but I don't want to do a song about politics." For the very reason I said, it come off corny. It wasn't authentic to me. And then, she was like, "Why don't you feel like your vote counts?" And I said, "Hey, I voted for Obama in 2012, I'm sorry. And I felt like nothing happened, nothing changed." And then she said, well, what are some things that you would like to see change? And as I listed those things off, she combated with bills and laws that could actually change to fix those problems. And I was so in awe. Like, for example, I said the potholes in the street are disastrous. It's hard to drive up Salem Avenue. That's one of the main streets in Dayton, Ohio. And she said, well, the Congress could pass a transportation bill or what was it, transportation or infrastructure bill or something like that. That could,
absolutely.
That could get get that process expedited. And, when she told me that, I was like, wow, because you automatically think that everything is messed up because of the president. You don't think about those smaller, smaller levels of government. And when she broke that down to me, and I was asking her about so many different things, she kept breaking it down. And then I ended up coming to a wake up moment, like, wow. So you mean to tell me that this and this and this and this and this is the way that it is because people don't vote? And she was like, yes, that's exactly what I'm trying to tell you. And I was like, wow, it was almost spooky. It was a spooky wake up moment. And I was like, I have to talk about this. And I did more research after that, and I came back to her, asked her questions, and, eventually my vote don't count was born.
That's amazing. I feel like you made it true to yourself instead of, like you said, being corny. You did the research and had to wait until it, penetrated your soul before you wrote that song. And that's probably why you're connecting with so many people. That's an incredible ability to do that as an artist.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Who do you look up to? As an artist, what do you want to do? How do you see your work moving forward?
Moving forward, there's dreams and like philanthropy, I guess, and then there's artist dreams. As an artist, my favorite artists, like, of all time are like Taylor Swift, Florida Georgia Line, Meek Mill. Those are all, so in music, I would love to collaborate with some of the people that, I just listen to a lot and I always dreamt of making music with. But I want to cross over. I want people to see how musical I can actually be beyond just some of the informative and some of the emotional. Well, it'll always be emotional, but I guess some of the more concept-driven songs that I do, I want people to see that, to understand that I have been doing music since I was 7 years old. So, I feel like a great musician, and I want the world to be able to see that. So, I'm going hard. I got a project coming out real soon. It's an EP, just a few songs, 5 or 6 songs. It's called Yellow is the New Black, and I'm going to release that towards the end of this month. And I'm excited to share my talents with the world.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear that too, for sure. And of course, just for the record, you are always welcome on the front page. If you have stuff going on, stuff coming out, always love to hear from you. Sometimes I feel like with artists, we reach out to you when it fits, our topic or our agenda, but, we're always here. And I think it sounds like, you have a really interesting concept of being true to your art, but also, being a philanthropist.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Kind of like the owner of this radio station, one Stevie Wonder, who just gave all the proceeds of one song to Feeding America, which is, incredible. Here we are in a pandemic, and he's like, let me put out 2 new songs and feed people. And you're feeding our brains, so I appreciate that.
Thank you.
What would you say if Ice Cube was on the phone right now? What would you say to him?
More so specifically into what's going on with
the election. Yeah.
Yeah. I would tell Ice Cube, thank you. I appreciate the work that he's doing for people of color. I'm also a person who comes from, not a lot of money, not a lot of resources, and he's going through a lot of extremities to make sure that we're straight, that, that the future of black people in America is not at least comfortable, and there's, some real equality, and not just, like this, hey, you have equal rights, but it's like, hey, you have equal resources. And he's going hard, and especially with Donald Trump being like one of the, like the black people saying, hey, get him out of there, for him to be able to step out of himself and say, listen, whoever is in power, I want to make sure that, that they have us in mind, and he's not worried about what people think, and he's going after help for us. So, whatever that looks like, he's doing it, and, I would want to tell him thank you. I appreciate it because I'm on the same mission.
Yello Pain, you are breaking things down for people, and you said you did research yourself. What does that mean? How did you get yourself to the point where you felt ready to write this in terms of your knowledge? Where did you go? Where did you turn?
Yeah, so my cousin, she's running for Congress. But because of that, she's very connected with a lot of other people who are also in government, especially in Dayton, Ohio. So I talked to a couple of judges. I talked to who else did I talk to? I talked to some of the city council members, some people on the city council. I did, obviously certain stuff is just public information. You can go to Google, and all of these politicians, like, people make it like it's so complex, but these people have Facebook pages. You know what I mean? Like, they're regular people. So, you can just go find some information, very easily. It's not as complex as, as it seems. And that's what I wanted to do with the song, really, is take research, but really just simplify it, because that's what makes a lot of people not want to vote. It's just the fact that you hear these big words, judicial, legislative, executive, and you hear, all of these bills and laws, and, these long words that really can be simplified to just specific, more money on your checks every 2 weeks. Minimum wage, I mean, everybody knows what that is, but it still sounds like a lot versus just, hey, you can get more money on your check every 2 weeks by voting for this person. And, I did a lot of work to try and simplify it. So, I talked to different people, Google, Facebook, etc.
Yeah, and speaking of those things, I mean, one of the things we're dealing with is these, misinformation and trolls and such. And you say, well, they have, they have Facebook, but it sounds like clearly you know how to sort out the BS from the actual facts on social media.
Mm-hmm.
Is that just like a natural talent that you have, or do you have any, advice? Because I think one of the things in this election, you've got people in Romania making fake Black Lives Matter sites. You know what I mean? You've got people trying to pit the Black community against each other, and in other communities against each other that aren't even here. And they might be posing as someone around your block, but clearly you know how to sort it out.
Yeah, with me, like, I'm all about. I'm really looking for opportunity for people, and a lot of things. I'm not really even interested in a lot of the propaganda or a lot of the different messages that people are trying to put out there. It's easy to sort through it, because anything that's just not positive, I'm just not interested. I'm just really interested in how to.
I love that. I need to adopt that philosophy.
Right.
I mean, that is one filter, right? This doesn't sound like it's going to enrich my life in any positive way.
Amen. No, straight up.
Yello Pain, a lot of people are listening to your song on KJLH. We play it a lot. And want to know more about you and embrace, your work. I know you have had a huge following and plenty of hits, the concept songs that you're known for and such. But what would you let people know about you, Yello Pain, the artist? Share a little bit about yourself.
I'm from Dayton, Ohio, born and raised. I come from a big family. I grew up with maybe not a lot of resources, but definitely a lot of support, a lot of love. And, I pushed through a whole lot of hardships, and, I try to tell people that they can do the same. I've seen a lot, and I've seen a lot of people give up early. So, I just want to encourage people to not do that. And then also, just like I'm a musician, but a lot of people see some of my more serious stuff and they like, oh, I don't even know if he's approachable. Like, I don't know, he's so serious, but, like 90% of my days is filled with laughter. So, I'm very approachable. Never, never think I'm too serious. I like to have fun. So, yeah.
That's the yellow part, right? The pain part is the other part.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, that's life. Yin and yang, the pain and the. Is it an artist's job? Or, let me go to this. My dad, Amiri Baraka, the poet and activist, said that all art is political. And so you may as well know what it is that you're saying and be intentional about it. What do you think the artist's role is in social change?
It's extremely important. I think one of the best teachers, period, is music. There's a treatment center for addiction in Florida. I forgot the name of it, but I went and performed there, and they like to teach, like to basically one of their rehabilitation processes is music, and it's a music treatment center, and basically they said that the strongest way to help people get off of addiction is music, and just that's an addiction. Like drug addiction is like extremely hard to beat. You know, there's people who can't and they die trying to beat drug addiction. If music can get somebody off of cocaine or heroin, you know what I mean? I'm sure it can wake somebody up about something as simple as who to vote for or, whatever. Music is an extremely strong tool, and everybody, regardless of what type of music they listen to, everybody on earth, if their ears work, listens to music. So, I definitely think it plays an extreme part in how things, how the world works.
Yeah, it's a great point. I mean, I felt in this pandemic, one of the things that's getting me through is just playing more and more music to, lift myself up, and remembering the power of music to change your mood, your feelings, and even what's going on in your mind. And you clearly have done that with this song. For all my front page family, my KJLH, South LA, East LA, wherever you are in Southern California. What's your message to the people that are still like, no, black people vote, doesn't make a difference, it's a waste of my time?
I try to tell them, don't make this about you. If you feel like, you're seriously, because a lot of people try to make it about themselves. You know what I mean? They make, all right, I'm not going to vote. My vote doesn't count, whatever. Like, we're not voting for ourselves. I mean, you might feel like you got your life figured out. That's okay. But what about, the people around you, your community, the homeless people, your children, your children's children, long after you're gone, things that you do or don't vote for are, people are going to feel that. The ramifications of your decision. So, I try to tell them, don't make it about you. And then there's, like I said earlier in this conversation, listen, there are people that are avid voters. Like, they show up every election and they're voting every election, and they're voting in their favor, and they're making decisions about your life in their favor. So why not be on the other side of that and try and turn it just a little bit more in your favor and in the favor of the people after you?
Okay, real quick before we let you go, Yello Pain, we got Cameron calling from L.A. Hi, Cameron. You're on with Yello Pain.
Good morning, Dominique. What's the word, Yello Pain? I wanted to give you a quick shout-out and say I really appreciate the song and the message that you're pushing, and, just waking the next generation up and, giving us the opportunity for us to be leaders and be in the change that we want to see in the world that we want to, that we have a vision for. So we appreciate that.
And I appreciate you, bro.
Thank you. Thank you for everything. And, just keep the efforts going. Appreciate you.
All right. Thank you, Cameron.
God bless.
All right.
Yello Pain, let us know how we can keep track of you online, buy the music, support your work.
Yes, listen, it's Yello Pain. That's YELLOPAIN. There's no W. Yello Pain, straight through, on everything, on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Spotify, etc. Wherever you listen to music or wherever you go for entertainment, TikTok, etc. It's just Yello Pain, YELLOPAIN.
Appreciate you so much joining us today in our conversation about whether or not our votes count.
Thanks. I appreciate you.
All right. When we get back, we're going to be talking with a veteran organizer. He's been on campaigns and he's been on these streets. And we're going to continue our conversations with your phone call, 520-KJLH, 520-5554. It is the Front Page Saturday Town Hall Edition, Radio Free, 102.3 KJLH.